Good afternoon to all, and welcome again to Tell Me Over Coffee, Cuéntamelo con un café. Our guest of today is originally from Amsterdam and now living in Los Angeles. Her worldly and cultured eye, plus her endless enthusiasm for production design, give her the unique ability to understand and deliver on the vision of any project, translating scripts to on-screen realities. Highly skilled and results-oriented professional with solid work and life experience, holding 2 bachelor's degrees, graphic design and production design. Extensive experience in film design and teamwork, proven ability to assess and manage complex obstacles, viewed as a strong troubleshooter. Successful in intense and demanding environments, providing decisive team leadership and structure with a track record of deliver the best design with fast results. With her impressive 20-year film and television career taking her around the globe, she is well regarded for her incredible talent, strong leadership, and knowing how to motivate and challenge her team to think quickly and creatively. Member of the Art Directors Guild Local 800. Her works as production and art designer in film have been seen in Paramount Pictures' Players Spell as production designer, directed by Mark Tondrai, DP Jacques Joffred in 2020. Platform production Jessica as production designer, directed by Ninja Thyberg, co-producer Lemming Film Shoot in Los Angeles in 2019. Sony Pictures Screen Gems Possession of Hannah Grace as production designer, directed by Diederik von Ruygen, DP Leonard. Oh my God, this is getting difficult. Again in 2018. I'm very sorry. I'm very, very sorry. Please excuse me. Grindstone Entertainment Spinning Man as art director, directed by Simon Kaiser and DP Polly Morgan in 2018. Millennium Media Hitman's Bodyguard as art director, directed by Patrick Hudger and DP Jules O'Loughlin in 2017. Sony Pictures Passengers as assistant art director, directed by Morton Tildum, DP Rodrigo Prieto, 2016, winner of the ADG Award and Oscars nomination 2017. She has also worked for commercial as art direction for brands such as Adidas, Jersey Mike's Subs, Burger King, Checkers, Heinz Tomato Ketchup, Jupiler Beer, Walmart, Big Razor, USA Chili Bang, Germany Dutch Lady Asia, Yoplait France, Lipton Iced Tea, Malaga Nintendo Europe, Heineken, UNICEF, Toyota, My Heritage, Schonenberg, Philips, Netherlands, amongst others. Paula Loos, welcome. Is that how you pronounce your last name, Loos?
Thank you for asking. So in America, they say Loos. And if I go to the Dutch way, how my parents designed it, it's Paula Loos.
Loos.
Yes.
Loos. Paula or Paula?
Paula.
Paula Loos. There you go. Paula Loos. Welcome. So let's start with all the questions. How did it all start? Anyone in your family part of this industry?
No, nobody is a part of the industry. But my family was creative. So my parents, they run a painter's company. And so my mom has this amazing little shop. And then she gave advice, like interior advice, like colors on the wall and wallpapers. And then my dad went to the houses and put the colors on the walls. So they were absolutely a creative team. And so that's where also, of course, I got influenced by, design of interiors and colors and structures and patterns. And how it started was, I started as I did graphic design school. And then when I was at the graphic design school, I just started working at an advertising agency. And when it was not that busy, I also made special props. Now, special props in film are things that that the actors hold in their hands, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they custom made for, in this case, a commercial that we were shooting. And
Mm-hmm.
then when it was not so busy, I was going to set, and I was like, "Huh, wait a minute! Behind your computer, 2D, right? 2D design, that's fun, but 3D is was way more interesting." And I saw all the people working together and collaboration, and I was
Mm-hmm.
like, "Okay, there's more than the 2D design on a computer." And so I applied for film school in Amsterdam, and that's how I started to work in film.
That's great. I assume that you always had your parents' support, being them creatives and creatives. Um, it was easy for you in this industry to have. I mean, when you decided to study design, creative designing, and graphic designing, I assume it wasn't a problem for them. Um, what can you tell us? The differences between production designing and art designing in film and commercials. What difference is there, if there is any?
Yeah. So, well, there's a lot of difference. First of all, for commercials, if you design for commercial, it's most of the time a shorter time frame. For
Mm-hmm.
example, you can say like a commercial is 30 seconds and a feature film is like 1.5 to sometimes 3 hours. So you can see that in preparation and how it's approached is a different way to design. And
Mm-hmm.
for most of the commercials, it's like the purpose of it is to sell a product,
Mm-hmm.
right? So everything is about the products. And
Mm-hmm.
then if you look at films, it's about leaving the audience with an experience, like an emotion. So there are different intention, but also you have to keep in mind with designing like a commercial or a film. For example, when we shoot a Burger King commercial and we created a set, it's like
Mm-hmm.
you design a set with walls, but it has to reflect the kitchen. But there's not like a specific uh, extra layer of character that you bring into the design because it's about like seeing some background of a kitchen to show them this is the surrounding we're in. And for
Mm-hmm.
example, for film, you really dive into like how can you get that extra layer of, at least that's my experience, right? There's extra layer of storytelling inside of the design of a film. For example,
Mm-hmm.
if you write a script and you say two actors having dinner and they're very fancy people, right? And you put them in a shabby place, it totally has a different experience with the viewer to
Mm-hmm.
have them in a shabby place than versus an upscale restaurant.
Mm-hmm. What do you like most of production designing and art designing?
Um, well, there are a couple of things. What I mentioned before is like the collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I did the graphic design, that's like, yeah, you do have interaction with people, right? Because you're designing something and people respond to it, but it's like more one on one or two on
Mm-hmm.
one. And with film, like there's no way you can make a film by yourself. You cannot hold a camera by yourself. You cannot direct. Well, I mean, if you make like a very small film and you put on press and you're gonna be acting in front of the camera, it could be work. But it's like I think the fun part is the collaboration.
Yeah.
And what I also like is reading words on paper and then create it to reality. And then that you are the contribution of making that reality come to life. That's for me is
Mm-hmm.
like most
Mm-hmm.
exciting. And that's also like, for example, in the beginning when you start a project, it's really um, discover together the the scenes and the importance of the scenes, and of course you have to do with the budget. Where were you gonna? What are the heavy parts of the movie or turning points, and how you translate it in a design?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's always magical. It's just like, yeah, magical to create words and paper into reality.
I assume it's just it's the same feeling that that screenwriters have to see their written on paper turn to life.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, totally. And what I also think is always very excited, like when you have unexpected surprises.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody who's read a book, right, get a visual with reading a book, and then for everybody, it's a different visual that they create in their minds. And what I also like about designing is that sometimes you have something in your mind, and then Location Scout comes with another option, and you twist it around, and then something unexpected happens, what could even lift up even beyond what you thought was possible. And this is just like, that's the fun part also of working together, because you put all those point of views, and then on the day of the shoot, it's like you're there, and it's just like, yeah, it's just a very, very adventurous, exciting way of like,
Mm-hmm.
well, having the experience in the
It
design.
is indeed. I would say that the creative part of making a film, of telling a story, only ends when the film has gone through post production and is ready to be screened. Because as you film it, new things come up, a new idea comes up to the film director, and it's etc, and all these new things. So it's still creating, it's still live, it's still alive until it goes through post production. Once it's gone through post production and it has been assembled and it's ready for screening, then that creativity has come to the end. But the process, that it's not that no, from paper it goes to this and we're not going to touch a thing, that's not true. Something always needs to be touched, always, what, be it big or small, but something is always touched. And that's the nice part of the creativity, and as you said, and the teamwork
Yeah.
is very, very important.
Yeah, and absolutely agree what you're saying as well, because you can shoot a scene a certain way, but in the edits, it can be completely different depending on how you cut it,
Mm-hmm. True.
right? So you
Mm-hmm.
can change the essence of the scene even still in the edit to see what's working and what's not.
Yeah, that's why I say that until it comes to the end and it's ready for screening, you still can change things. Out of
Exactly.
all the projects that you have collaborated, participated, worked in to today, which one is your favorite and why?
That's a very good question. So yeah, if I so this is hard to pick one, right? Because each project has its own like own little niche and own little thing that
Mm-hmm.
makes it very excited. But if I look at it right now, first thing that comes to mind was the movie Spell. And
Mm-hmm.
what stood out for that movie was that it was shot in South Africa,
Mm-hmm.
and American as America, and it was just amazing because the whole team and the crew, they were like brilliant. They were really so good, and it was also great because we could build like many of the sets, and
Mm-hmm.
that's like not always the case. So we really could design how it will
Mm-hmm.
look like, and really like execute it in a way that it's what was created was what you see in reality when we shoot the film.
Mm-hmm.
And it was also a very nice project because it's some funny things. I used the color red, yellow, and blue. And for example, when we enter the movie, we have a yellow exterior of a gas station. Then we're gonna go to a blue house from the main characters and a red color of the barn. And I like to play with that, but not every movie you know, uh, is like a project that you can use to do those kind of things, right? So
Mm-hmm.
because if you
Yeah.
have work on a movie that with existing locations, you're not always able to play with those elements. And that
Mm-hmm.
was a movie that I really could take that on. But then on
Mm-hmm.
the other hand, I also, for example, when I was assisting art directing on The Passengers, and this was my first like over $120 million film that I was had the opportunity to work on. It's a total different experience, and then you could really see how the heart of the art department starts, and how the production designer, I was assisting a Guy Dias, and
Mm-hmm.
how to work with like a massive art department team, about, for example, 20 people, starting only with the design.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally different experience, but it's also nice because it was like a futuristic film, total
Mm-hmm.
different approach, but an amazing experience as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was my first union show, and so it got nominated for an Oscar, and we won the AGD award, and it was the first union show I worked on, and I was like, what? Right? So that was also, it also, yeah, stick out inside of the experience, that the first union show that I worked on had like such a great response of the audience. So that was, yeah, also very, very good.
Well, it sometimes happens that it's the first one, or it's the last one, or it's the one in the middle, but there's always a beginning. And
True.
it's great to have that experience and that feeling. Any project that you regretted doing or was not satisfactory for you?
Yes. And there's a beautiful, well, this is actually, okay, so this is what happened when I just started and I did my second feature.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm listed as art director, but I designed it, and I was head of department. So that was one of the first things that I was like, So, okay, that's like about the title thing. So I'm not very attached to that. But on this project, what happens, and this is later on, right? I didn't know by the time. So I was working on the show, and what happened is that I came after 1/3 of the shoot. I came to set on Monday morning, and I was like, where's my art department? It's like, why is nobody here? Why are they all late? And then the producer came to me and he said, I fired everyone. And I was like, you fired everyone? He said, yes. So I fired them on Friday and I told them not to tell you. Well, you should know that working on a film, even in the art department, it's like you cannot do it by yourself. It's like props and set decoration. I don't know. Are you familiar with like props? Is like the
Mm-hmm.
hand props, and decoration is like make sure that the furniture is all in place, and then you have construction. And there I was by myself, and he said, "I know you can handle it." And so I handled it, but how I handled it was like nuts, because I went like I have to put in my own money. So, for example, we had a cabana that we needed to build on the beach, and then I didn't have construction, and they do gave me a PA with no experience. But I went to Home Depot. It's like a material. I say company where you buy wood and steel from the
Mm-hmm.
Home Depot, and then I did that after the shoot. Bought the materials, put them in my car. What was already I had like by the time I had a vehicle that I just took like would build your I say the the back of the car. You put it down,
Yeah.
yes, and then go very early to the beach, build the cabana, get like a last minute request for champagne bottles, got it from friends who have a cafe, and then shoot the project, take it out, and return the items back to the store, right? And everything I needed to do by myself. And then what happened inside of that, I came to I just arrived at the rental company, because each week you have to pick up the props. And I was looking like a zombie. I was like this. And then there were a couple of people at the rental company for the props who looked at me and said, what's going on with you? I said, well, I work on this film and my crew got fired. And I do want to finish it, because when I say yes to something, I go for it. And they say, well, an art department is not a one-person show. And I was like, yeah, I got that. They say, when is your most complex day of shooting? I said, it's this day, and we had 5 locations on one day inside of a studio building. He said, okay, and it was a union guy, and I was non-union by the time. He said, will you show up? So he and a friend of his, both like in the union, they showed up. And he
Wow.
said, call your team who got fired and see if they can show up. And everyone showed up. So at that day, it was like the second last shoot day, we suddenly were with 8 people on set. And we nailed it inside of like having this like fluent, and everybody knew what they were doing. It was for me, and that's so it was the most not great experience of having a producer just fire my team. And what happened afterwards is it turned out to be that he spent 1/3 of his money in the beginning of the film and didn't have anything left. So that's why he started to fire people. And I'm really happy that I completed it as well, because the actors, they said, we want to drink coffee with you, because they saw that something was not right. And I had like these amazing new friends who were in the union, and so I could see how it could be done properly versus how it was created. So now, fast forward, I think about 3-4 months ago, I called that producer, because every time when his name popped up or something I got related to him, I was like, what the, I cannot say it on the TV, but I was like, you're treating me so badly. And it was still in my space. So I called him and I say, okay, listen, I just stopped thinking and treating you like an asshole, because at that time I still carry like resistance, and I'm still like fighting it, and I just don't want to do that. And he said, I'm so sorry what I did. He said, I was wearing too many hats, and I didn't know exactly what I was doing, and I made massive mistakes on that film, including firing your team. And then he said, but I want to make it up, because I see what the mistakes I made. So I have 2 movies coming up, one in Atlanta and one in New Jersey. Would you like to design it? And I was like, okay, didn't expect this one. And so I was able to clean it up and also get to the source of it. That's why I know what happens inside of designing a new film. And unfortunately, I got booked on another job, so I couldn't work on the show. But it's interesting how it works, right? That you have a very big experience, and then call the person to see what actually happens, and then you create something new.
Well, I mean, it went well for you. Not the first day, you went almost mad, but it went very well, and I'm happy for that. According to you, what are the 3 qualities that every producer should have?
I love that. So I think one quality, but I think that's for doesn't matter what profession you have,
is wear one hat at a time.
Is what? One hat, yeah, exactly.
At a time.
Well, that's for sure. I mean, there's also on the movie that what like didn't really work out for me, but that's for sure. One hat at a time, and also know what's happening in your team. Don't assume anything, because you can imagine, like with films, you put a bunch of people together in a short period of time, and everybody has a different point of view, right? If I say blue wall, then if I ask the DP, the director, or the producer, they all show a different blue wall. So I think that's for a producer as well. Don't assume anything. So the moment you know that assumption kicks in, step away and just ask the question. So I think it's like really know what's happening inside of your team. And what else is it good for a producer?
To listen.
Oh yes, absolutely. That I think, and that has also to do with assumptions, because you can listen for somebody's greatness, or you can listen for somebody is like not so great, or and in being in discovery. Where are we at?
We are at talking about the qualities.
Yes, exactly.
But then, for instance, these qualities that you are talking about can be on producers, can be on directors,
Mhm.
can be on actors, on just about anyone who is part of the team.
Yeah.
Because it's like you say, you can't, we are such a big team in front and behind the camera that you cannot take anything for granted.
No.
So it's a teamwork, and listening is very important. Sharing is very important. We all have to have our ego very low based, because
Right.
it's the only way that our ears will be ready to listen.
Mm-hmm. That's true. And that's
Mm-hmm.
why, for example, also in design, it's really like, for example, when I start a project,
Mm-hmm.
um, I'm creating my point of view about the looks of a film, and then we discover if the director has the same look in his mind, and to see if we can start a collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
And I also would like to have it as soon as possible to the location scout, so you can just paint an ideal picture of how things could look like. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you, for example, not giving references or don't feed with images how it looks like, you can get like feedback all over the place. So
Yeah.
when I start a project, I'm trying to not trying. What I'm doing is really narrow it down as soon as possible, so we get all the perspective in the same direction, and we all making the same film. And
Mm-hmm.
otherwise, if you don't put that like in a visual, or show it in a way that it makes sense to people, then we have the same blue wall
Mm-hmm.
conversation, right?
Yeah.
I love blue, and everybody's like, oh, no blue. Oh wait, this blue can be working well. So, and visuals
Yeah. But
help
again,
with that.
there are so many different blues that you
Yeah,
don't know which blue.
exactly,
But see,
exactly.
that's the same thing we actors would like to have our script as soon as possible, in order to be able to prepare our character and
Yeah,
not wait for last minute changes. Although, I mean, we can always integrate last minute changes, but as long as you have had time to know the whole story, know who your character is, how to get into your character, and then last minute changes are always adaptable to what you already have. But if everyone, no, no, let's wait until last minute because I still have to change. I want to put this, I don't know, and this and that. You're always saying, okay, the closer we get to the shooting day, the less time I'm going to have to prepare. So it's not going to be a full thing.
yeah.
And you have to be aware of this. Apart from that specific project, have you had any other project which was the hardest one for you to prepare?
Hmm.
Now, we're not talking about that all of a sudden someone who loves to wear many hats at the same time
Yeah,
decided just to fire everyone and you do the job of 10 people. No, we're talking about maybe location wise, or it was a very hard project because of the story, and it was a complex story, and you had to really brain it out
yeah.
to make it possible.
Well, first of all, each movie you should brain out, I think, because you want to make a whole movie and not a
Hmm.
movie that shows up in parts. And I there's no project that really comes up to my mind, like in design wise,
Hmm.
that I bumped into that I was like, I call it stuck, right?
Hmm.
And or just didn't know how to create something or experience being stuck, because there's
Hmm.
always something happens that it moves it forward. And
Hmm.
obviously, yes, sometimes you bump into like late locations, or an actor should shift his calendar, so you have to all like something that you were planning for 3 weeks later, then suddenly shows up in next week. Then it's like shifting all gears to make that
Hmm.
happen. But that's more like having everybody on board and just find out what's possible inside of the time that you have. And but
One
mhm,
question.
yeah.
Let me interrupt you. When you prepare your job, do
Hmm.
you tend to, like I say, pre-cook it all? and then you just finish the cooking as the time gets there, or you focus on just by times.
No.
You do the whole thing. Okay.
Yes, pre-cooking, like this is like actually great. So I just started a new project, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what I like about this as well is that the director and I and the DP is flying in next week. We are really looking at how we want to create it in the beginning, right? So I also have it that if you production designing is like 20% design, and that's on the front ends, right? Design.
Mm-hmm.
So you all have a great aesthetic idea about how it looks like, and then there will people add to it so you can have something to show and everybody's on the same page. And then 80% is the management of it, to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that what you designed also is created in reality. And yes, what I said, the unexpected surprises, they're very like, you embrace them, but you're also bumping into things like, oh, we wanted to have that street next to the building look different, and then we should cut it. But well, if I refer back to your question, like if you have to do really the think work, that's when you have a location, when you shoot one direction and it's perfect, and the other direction it doesn't look that perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And so to shoot it on two different locations but make it match. So for
Yeah.
the audience, they don't know that you're shooting on two different locations. And I think to match the design that you create in the beginning and the script that there's created, right, and the design, to make sure that everything that the audience don't experience that. I think that's where there's some more critical think work to
Mm-hmm.
also come in. And I really like to play, for example, in the design as well, with the the extra layer, what I said, in the design that comes forward
Mm-hmm.
in the film. For example, what I said with the three complementary colors in the movie that I did. For example, now we have an interior with black skinned people and white skinned people, but for the interior, I reverse it. So the white people would have a brown dark background, and that's also, for example, the contrast of the color of the skin. But it
Mm-hmm.
also, because this movie is about Black Lives Matter, right, that I'm working on right now. But in order to give the design this extra dynamic, I'm really looking for the contrast in the design of the film, to
Mm-hmm.
have that as a second layer of the design in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I like to
How,
think about it. There's also
yeah,
critical thinking where you're gonna put that in place, because you don't want to have the audience be distracted by it, but you
true.
do want to put it in place that it's like this extra for the people who pay attention to it and they see it. That's good. But I have it as well, what they see, and it's coming back to creating an emotion as well, right? Because we want to
Mm-hmm.
have create an emotion through the people who watch it, and that would be making a difference.
Do you usually use what I like to call a jig? A jig is a just in case.
A jig. That's so funny. I don't know about like um well, I
You know,
worked with like,
just
for
in case
example,
this doesn't work, I have this one.
oh yes, of course. I mean, well, it doesn't happen a lot, because most of the time when it's something is created or have it in mind, then that's what's going to happen. And yes, sometimes you have to compromise. So it's like yes, no, maybe, and
Yeah,
then you go for the yes. But if the yes really doesn't work, you go back to the maybe. Does it
yeah,
make sense?
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I use that. I used to use that with my kids when they were small. I used to use the maybe all the time.
Yes,
That way they would never be able to say I said yes. No, it's always a maybe. Who knows?
exactly. It gives you some little wiggle room.
Yeah. Um, Tell us about which project or projects has given you most joy, and tell us a positive and a negative about it.
Wow, the most joy. Well, there's one movie in the Netherlands that I worked on, and that was what's the title again? Sonny Boy,
Mm-hmm.
and they were shooting near my parents' place in the same area, and there was like joy because I invited my mother to help to dress the set, and my dad,
Oh.
because he was a painter, he worked in the scenic department. So we had very old wallpaper.
Mm-hmm.
And then the guys from our team were like, oh, it's hand painted wallpaper and almost cracked in your hands because it was
Mm-hmm.
authentic old paper. And then they say, well, we don't know if we can just handle it. And so my dad, who had amazing lot of experience, he came on board. And I thought that was so, I mean, I really enjoyed that they were, you know, creating together this movie. And also because they don't always have a sense about what I'm doing, right? Sometimes it's like, oh, you're now in New Orleans. Okay, what is what you're working on? And then they look it up online and they stay
Mm-hmm.
connected. But sometimes it's also like it stays a bit a mystery. But it's nice to bringing the people from, like, yeah, for example, relatives to have a glimpse on what it is to create this film.
Oh,
And
I find that was just, I don't know. It's just, it's a beautiful experience that not many people can take on board in a project, family, so they understand what your work is, and not only what, so they can understand what your job is, but for others to understand where your creativity came from,
yeah,
which is beautiful. And see, that's something that you will cherish and have in your memory for the rest of your life, that you had this project with your parents. And like you said, I bet I can imagine you when the others said, oh my God, this old
yeah,
paper is just shitty and this is not going to work. And I can just imagine you thinking, oh God, you guys don't know my dad, he's going to make it work. I think that was just, great. It was really, really great. That's nice.
yeah.
That's a very lovely experience to cherish and always remember. Let's go now into very important things. It's great to know that we have women in certain positions, job positions in this industry. We don't have many, but we are starting to have many. And for me, it's very important, not only to interview you, Paula, but to show other girls that they can be whatever they want to be
Yeah.
professionally. And there's no such thing as gender jobs, not anymore. So, according to a study, but this is a study which is it's quite, it's not updated. So, but I should get this updated. But here in Spain, for instance, we only have 26% of the positions. We're talking about technical positions behind the camera, in women's hands. Not documentaries, not animation. We're talking about feature films, fiction. So we're talking about a 26%. This was in 2015, 16. And we were talking about a 26% versus a 74% by men.
Yeah.
This is big. This happens a lot everywhere else. It's just like, we're also talking about, which I don't understand why, because I consider that a job it has no gender. It's a position and it has no gender. But yet here in Spain, for instance, we are talking about masculinized areas and feminized areas. Talking about feminized areas, it's just wardrobe and makeup and hair. The rest is for men, which we don't understand why. I mean, obviously, unless you need to be a weightlifter to be able to lift a ton with your hands. If it's not that, I mean, it's all a brain lifter. You don't need to have that physical capability of lifting things. Although I have seen women taking care of electricity, taking care of building a house or a scene, and I have seen women do this. How is this similar in the States and in the Netherlands? And what do you think needs to be done? We're talking about worldwide. What do you think needs to be done to pair this? That there's a 50-50. I'm not saying that we have to be better. No, a 50-50.
Well, I can tell you, for example, from my own experience in the United States, right? So I had on one job that I was working on that the production manager came to me and said, Paula, you know, you give instructions to an older male construction manager, right? And I was like, yeah, I know that. That's why they hired me on the job. He said, yeah, but you know that he's older and it's a male person. And I'm like, uh, yes. I just wanted to let you know that I know that. And I was like, okay, so where does this come from? So I went to the construction manager and asked him, like, hey, do you have any problems that I'm like 20 years younger and female? He said, no, I love it because you know what you want. And it's easy for me to work with than if you don't know what you want. And so what happened is that the construction manager was completely fine with working with me. Only in this case, the production manager, he had a point of view about how the world would look like in the art department, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I noticed that as well, that it's still sometimes in the space, and that they're more uh, male designers. Or what
Mm-hmm.
happens as well right now on the movie that I'm working on currently, I'm the only female in all the heads of departments.
Wow.
So, for example, the
Well,
producer.
bravo for you. Bravo for
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. And then, so all the key people there are male, and then I think what there's need to be shifted in the Netherlands is different. There are
Mm-hmm.
more female designers. I think that's like, if I look at the people that I know, maybe it's 30, 40, 60, 70, right?
Mm-hmm.
Still the majority is male, but the female designers, and it also has to do with, like, for example, the film school in the Netherlands,
Mm-hmm.
they hire most female people, or they not hire, the school doesn't hire, but they let female people apply for attending the school. Like, for example, each year there are 10 students
Mm-hmm.
who are entered the school, and then most of the time they're female designers. So I think that that's a good thing in the Netherlands what happens. But I really think, for example, in the overall, is like shifting the mindset of like, and the female designer and the production
Mm-hmm.
itself. That exactly what you're saying. Like, there's no difference in male or female, but there's still something rooted,
Mm-hmm.
like in how it is created, that it started with male designers. So that's like, I think we are getting at the tail of that conversation. But for example, the production manager was also like a certain age, right? So it comes with conversations in the mind from the past.
Yeah, but it's just like saying, "Oh, you have to respect more your father because he's a man." What? I
It
don't
doesn't
respect
make
my mom
sense.
then? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but it has to do with the mindset of the person who's
Oh.
communicating. And then I also think, for example, what could be a thought, if, for example, you want to be a designer so badly, and then you are like, let's say, early 20s, and you're like, I want to be a designer. And then somebody comes along and said, no, that's for male people. You won't make it. And then you're like, okay, it's for male people, so I'm not going to make it. So you put your dream aside and stop
Mm-hmm.
persuading your dream because
Mm-hmm.
somebody verbalized how it should be, what is a completely nonsense, of course. But that's how it how it is. For example, when I left to the United States, there were people saying like, "Well, I'm not sure if you're going to make it because you have to go, you have to be in the union to work on bigger films, and you're from the Netherlands, right? We don't have a large film culture." And or we do have a large film country, but it's created for the amount of people that are in the Netherlands, right? So we don't make $100 million film if we only like have 70 million people watch the film. That would be crazy. It wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
So based on that, if I would listen to the people who said like, you're not going to make it, then I wouldn't probably stay there and just like be comfortable in what I have. But I have this vision about me want to make movies in the United States, and in particular because I wanted to have people see the work that I designed, right? And then I
Mhm.
knew I was limited with the language barrier. And it's like, for the Dutch people who watching, I know it's not really, yeah, well, I say language barrier because everybody speaks English, but not everybody speaks Dutch.
Yeah.
So that makes a difference. So that's why, but I just stay true to my guts. And I was like, okay, maybe it doesn't work. So what? Then at least I tried.
True. True. What do you think we can do? But it's not a decision. It's not a fight only for women. This is a fight that we need to do together, women and men, to make this change. Just like for anything in this world that needs to be paired between men and women is a fight together. Because alone, it's fighting against the wind.
Yeah.
So we do need to find, because it's just like when we're talking about other areas in the industry, such as makeup and hair. Oh no, that's for women. Excuse me. Or for a gay. Why? Why does he have to be gay? He can be just hetero and
True.
he likes to he likes makeup and he likes to do hair or costume.
Yeah.
He's a costume designer. Why does he have to be gay? Why does it have to be a woman? We're talking about genderless jobs,
Yeah.
genderless positions.
True.
I do understand that, especially when you already have, I mean, we're talking about production companies and we're talking about film directors, that when they do have a certain years of experience and that they have worked with a certain production companies and they are very comfortable with certain professionals in these production companies, well, you always want to work with these people because it makes your life easier. I understand that completely. But it's like I always say that when you are a known director or production company, it is easier for you to introduce female professionals in these positions because they are going to listen to you, because they know that everything that you produce makes gold. So of course I'm going to listen to you. Now, if you take a soon-to-be film director, he's won a prize for his independent film in this festival. He's not a very well-known film director, etc. Well, no one's going to really bet for that project. And let's do a 50-50 production, 50 men, 50 women. No, because, well, I don't know if it's going to work. Nah, let's go for this one. You know, we know him. We already know the guys that work there, and it's always, hey guys, hey guys. This is something that has always surprised me, when the word guys has become generalized as masculine and feminine. And when someone talks to me and say, hey guys, I say, no, how about hey guys and gals? I'm not a guy, I'm a girl.
This is so
Call
funny.
me a guy. I'm not a guy. You call me gal because I'm a girl. In my time, when I was younger, they would say guys and gals, guys and gals.
Yeah.
But now it's all guys. Hey guys. You know, so
Yeah.
I think it's something that we have to do together. It's not a matter of just feminism and things like that. No, we need to do this together to make it work. Well, I mean, at least that's my thought. I don't know.
But the thing
And
is, it's interesting you bring it up, because I'm working on a project, and then one of the team members also say, "Hey guys," and I'm the only female again, but not again. But it turned
yeah,
out that I have like male environments inside of the project that I'm working on. But the funny thing is, if he say guys, I don't relate to it like I'm just like a person, and he said guys, and I don't expect him to, for example, in a group email or group text, he said, "Hey guys, I got this information. Can you check it out?" For me, doesn't occur like, "Hey, I'm not a guy. I'm a girl." It's more like he uses the word as he doesn't say, "Hey Harold, hey Bert, hey."
yeah, he uses as if saying, "Hey everyone," instead of
Everyone,
"Hey
exactly.
everyone." It's just, "Hey guys."
Exactly. So in that communication, I
Yeah.
just don't. It doesn't occur to me like, oh, you have to tell me I'm a girl. It's more like I got it. You use it as a word like hey everybody, this is what I think in that case, it's how I relate it to the word
Yes.
guys, because I don't relate it as a gender kind of things. I relate to it as a group conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah.
think that's also like a difference. And I think it's like seeing in perspective in
Mm-hmm.
communication how people are, uh, yeah, what point of view they are try to not trying, just be in their point of view to see what they communicate about what's there to yes address or
Mm-hmm.
what's there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's
Totally.
like
Totally.
yes, and then it's like for each individual, if it was really like, hey, boys, or really like say it addressed and I was not included, or it was something specific for one person who is a male person, then it might be different. Or for a girl, does it make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Okay.
it does totally. Well, I can understand you. I'm a woman, so that's not a problem. I understand where you're going. I don't know if the rest of the guys understand, but I understand. Okay. Stop making jokes. I'm not a feminist. Okay, I'm
No,
feminine.
but it's good. But it's
Um,
good because
I mean,
it really,
I do like to defend, but
yeah,
it's not a question. It's not a matter of because I'm a woman. No, it's a matter of equality. It's like I find it equal that rich and poor children go to school.
yeah.
I find it as equal that we all have the same opportunities. I'm
Mhm.
not saying that. I mean, we can be better, we cannot be better, whatever. But you at least to give you the opportunity to try. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm totally fine with women because we do have our co-friend women who like their position as mother, wife, uh, daughter, and I stay at home and do my stuff. Perfect.
Mhm.
I respect it because it's your decision. As long as it's your decision, I respect it
Yeah.
fully, completely. Doesn't
But
mean that you have to be become president of a company. No, if you are happy where you are, for me, it's great. It's valid.
exactly.
It's just as valid as a guy who wants to be stay home dad and take care of the children and the home while his
Mhm.
wife is working. For me, it's valid also. It's
Yeah.
not a woman's job, it's a person's job.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a woman or a man.
Yeah.
And I can bet if we could be a dog, the dog would do better than both of them. But unfortunately, we can't just leave the children with the dog alone. So we'll
That would
have
be
to move on
something.
with you with human beings. We'll keep on with the human
Yeah.
beings. Um, what are your favorite genres as production and
Yeah.
art designer? And
So
then, what are your favorite genres as a spectator, which sometimes are different?
that's true. Um, so I like, for example, I like creating realities that not real. So, for example, futuristic films are
Mm-hmm.
like I'm drawn to that, and I also like a bit absurdism.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, I'm drawn to the movies of Quentin Tarantino because he has one scene, I forgot which movie it is, that a girl loses her leg and finds a gun, put it on her leg, and then shoot the surrounding like with on her leg. And I'm like, never ever that would happen. So that's absurd, right? And so as a spectator, I like that, but also like for designing and
Mm-hmm.
I like, for example, challenges of past. Right now, I'm working on 1974, and this is amazing because it's a movie, 1974 in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
And what the beauty of it is that I'm not American. I was not
Mm-hmm.
even born in 1974, and I still have the opportunity to design a world of the past. So what I like about
You're
that is
so young.
hmm?
Oh, I said you're so
Yeah,
young.
thank you. Well, no, thank you. Yes, it is what it is, I guess.
Yes, it is what it is. I'm
Yeah,
10 years
no,
older than you. It is what it is.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So and then so that's as designer, I like to you know dive into a world where I was not present. I didn't experience the 1974, but I get to get to know everything about the time period and place. And so that's what I really like. So as designer for present day, like romantic comedy, not that much for me.
Mhm.
So I'd rather do something futuristic that doesn't exist, or go into history so I can learn something and get myself familiar with something that I don't know,
Mhm.
or just absurdism. Like, for example, yeah, what I said, Quentin Tarantino has a specific style, right?
Yeah.
He does have like this 60s, 70s look in some of his film.
Mhm.
And but also there's on top there's a layer of absurdism of things that you never would, well, almost hard to imagine that things are happening in the real world. And that's what I like as well.
Well, that's Quentin. I mean, I had to watch Pulp Fiction twice to understand it.
Yeah.
So, and that's him. I mean,
Yeah.
you could always, I mean, well, yeah, Woody Allen, he's a bit complicated, but I do like certain films.
Yeah. Well, there are more films also that I do like also to watch. Or, for example, so Memento, for example, I love
Mhm.
that as well, because it asks something for you as a spectator to pay attention on where you are in that whole film.
Yeah.
And for example, if I look at design wise, also Seven, right?
Hmm.
They had also this, like, really, what I think the movies are really, what works in them is that you create an emotion with the people who are watching it, with the viewer. And I think that that's very powerful.
Hmm. Absolutely. Talking about directors, who are your favorite directors?
That's also good. Well, so for example, I like Quentin Tarantino, but I really would like with him as well is that he grabs and picks from previous movies and he puts it together. He shakes it very hard, and then he has his own, like his own flavor of what it is to work on a film. So I really appreciate that. Um, what else? For example, I work with Mark Tundrai, and
Hmm.
he just directed the movie Spell. And what I like about him, for example, he really goes into details, and that's not for you have directors are different flavors and different kinds, right? So he really dove into, it was about voodoo, and
Yeah.
there's a difference between hoodoo and voodoo, but really go into the details. And I like
Hmm.
that as well. So it's not like nothing is taken for granted.
Hmm.
So that's also nice. And or like that's what I consider as great and very involved, because some directors are less involved in the art departments. Um, who else? I don't have anything that pops up right now. They're like people that I
If
like.
I were to tell you, okay, you say you name the director of who with whom you would love to work with, and it will become true. Who
Quentin
would you?
Tarantino.
Oh my
He
God!
said
All
he
right,
wants to do one
Quentin.
more movie.
Yeah. So Quentin, this is a shout out for you. Paula Los is here. She's saying that she would love to work with you. She's an amazing production and art designer. So you're not supposed to be thinking twice to work with her. So she should be your next shot. That's a message for Quentin Tarantino. Okay.
Yassmine, I want to share this with you. You're amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Because it popped up more often in my mind, that I was like, how can I just make sure that people know that this is something that I would like to do, right? But
There
you
you
just
go.
created that, like, for me.
Well,
So thank you so
because
much.
you have to make a shout out. You have to say it to the universe.
Yeah,
Someone's going to be listening, and someone's going to tell him sooner or
exactly.
later. You never know who's watching. You
That's
never know.
true.
So just in case, I always say, just in case, don't say too many bad things about people because you never know who's watching. But you should be saying a lot of good things
Yeah.
about people. So, it is well known that in this industry, unfortunately, it's about hardworking, persistence, having the right contacts, and loads and loads of luck. What would you tell your past you, and what would you tell your future you?
Okay. This is good. So My past me, what I would say is, um, don't let your inner voice get in your way, because
Mhm.
there was also like moments that I thought like, oh, this is really what I want to do, but I probably not capable of doing it, and so I didn't do it. And this is like small things, because you bring it up, like for example, yes, I would love to design a movie for Tarantino, and in the past I maybe would not be sharing as much about that,
Mhm.
because oh, I can have this little voice saying, oh, probably not going to happen, you know. The little voice that holds you back from what you really want.
Hmm.
So I
Well,
would say,
I always tend to say, always be the alpha of your inner voices. You are the alpha. Inner
yes,
voices are there, but you're supposed to be in charge of it.
exactly. And I know that me as a person, I already did that to a certain degree. Otherwise, I wouldn't move from the Netherlands to the United States and just work on the project that I'm working and make it happen what I created. But
Mhm.
I think I could have even lift up that, uh, like to a higher level, or like higher level is not how I would say, but um, taking certain actions, and not just, don't be afraid to jump, just jump. Even though I already did that, at least, but even, take a bigger jump.
Well, you can still do that.
Yeah, oh, yes, and I just like, absolutely,
You can
absolutely.
still do it. I mean, I always say that the last day you can't do anything else is the day that your feet go up front from the door when you're in
Yes,
a box. Till
yes,
that day, you can do anything.
yes. And so for that, this brings me also to the future me, right?
Mhm.
So if I say for the future me, so just do everything that you want to do and don't hold yourself back. Because exactly what you're saying, you don't know who you're running into tomorrow. If you
True.
fulfill on what you want, and
Mhm.
just like open, oh yes, another thing, open your mouth. Don't go hiding, because with hiding, it's not going to happen,
No, I
right?
have to close mine. I mean, I tend to always have it open, so I have to close mine.
Yeah. Yes. So yes, if you're hiding, if for example you want to be like, I don't know, maybe you want to be an actor, or you want to,
Mhm.
you know get a certain job, it doesn't work when you're going to sit in your room and don't open your mouth, right? It
No,
comes with
definitely.
action, so really
I
like,
mean, yeah, the best person who can sell you and your qualities and your skills is yourself,
yeah, true. But
because
that's
you are
only if you open your mouth, because
you, because
yeah,
yeah, obviously, definitely. I mean, you are your best friend.
yeah,
You are your worst enemy too,
true.
but you are the person that knows yourself the best.
Exactly, and it's
And
perfect, because I think that that's like a past and future conversation for sure.
yeah, definitely. Let's go into serious things. How was the confinement of COVID for you? How did it affect you personally and professionally? And what have you done to make the lockdown easier?
So, okay, so at the moment that the lockdown started, I was in, well, this is it. So the COVID was happening, and I
Mhm.
already scheduled a trip to celebrate my mother's birthday, and I was in the Netherlands on, I think it was a Wednesday, and then they made the announcement they're gonna lock the borders in America, and I was like, oh, my house is over there, and I have like my car and my life, and I do have like, I also have a life I could have in the Netherlands, but I was like, I need to get out of here, so I didn't attend my mother's birthday. I just flew back like in 2 days. I did like dip my toe in the Netherlands and then moved back.
Wow.
And then I was there, and what happened is that a friend of mine passed away,
Oh,
and I had an. It was not COVID related. He had an. I said blood. I said if you're.
blood hemorrhaging,
Yeah, I don't know.
brain hemorrhaging.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so he passed away, and then we had like an online funeral, and then it hit me, because I was able to travel to from America to the Netherlands, but I didn't know if I could get back, right? But I was like, if anything happens, I cannot I cannot have for my friends and my family in the Netherlands. And I know I built up my life in the US as well, but in that case, like my close
Yeah.
family and my friends, if anything happened and I would be in the United States and they cannot be with me and they have to experience an online funeral, that would be like
Devastating.
devastated. Yes. So the moment that I came up with that idea, the next day I got a phone call from a production company in the Netherlands. They say, we have to build an exterior, interior, and you should do the job. Book the ticket, gonna work with us. And then we still had to 10 days, but in their studios, they have a hotel room. So I was like, this is perfect, actually.
Yeah.
So I flew back, I did the job, I did another job. And then I was there for, I think, 2 months. And I was like, okay, but I also have my house in the United States and I need to take care of like, daily business. And then I thought, okay, let's see what's needed to get done. So I went to Mexico, stayed there for 14 days, had a nice time. It was great. It was very quiet. There was not a lot of things happening, but the architecture is phenomenal. And I've never been to Mexico City by the time. Flew back to LA. And then I did like 3 other small jobs. And I have a side project. And side project, this is funny for the people listening, I re-educate people how to use toilet paper properly. And so because I had way more time than I had in the past, and this project was really like, yes, it was like not my main, because my main how you say it, where I put my focus on is filmmaking. And then suddenly, because of the COVID, the whole toilet paper project became so important, and that exploded. So now we're going to produce toilet paper, what was not going to happen. So if you ask me about the COVID experience, it went a bit up and down, but I still was able to do work, right? Or just
Which
persuade
is
what I'm
important.
doing. Plus that the thing that I just created as a nice thought became reality. So yes, it was an interesting period of time. It's like
But it was quite good that COVID hit every country gradually, which allowed us to, I mean, especially you guys, to go from one country to another, work for work.
Yeah.
Because the possibility, because the COVID hadn't hit yet, it was extensive. It wasn't a lockdown. So that on that end, it was great. It was really good and great for you guys. I'm happy about that. I'm really sorry about your friend, but it was important that that thought of you of thinking, oh my God, it's not that I'm living in the southern part of Holland.
No.
I'm living very far away. If something should happen to me, firstly, I'm alone in the sense that no members of my family or my best friends in Holland are here with me. And how would your mom feel? How would your dad feel? So you start feeling that anguish there, and it's it's not only that. It's just then you just all of a sudden turn it around, instead of thinking you should say what would happen if I can't leave the United States?
Yeah.
And my mom is sick or my dad is sick and something's happening and I can be there with them. So yeah, it's been really hard with everyone. Do you have any upcoming projects that you can talk about?
Yeah, so just this is so this is the right timing, because yesterday evening, and it's now Friday 1:12 p.m. So you know that I'm in a different time zone, right? On last Wednesday, I got greenlit and was booked on a job, and it's interesting that they want to. In America, it works different than in Europe. It's that in the Netherlands, when they call you for a job, 90% you have the job, and it's like on time, right? And so you know when you're gonna start, and everything is like mapped out in a way that it's like yes, relaxed. Let me say not relaxed. Yeah, relaxed. It's a good, like I say it, walk towards the job. I call it like that. But in the US, it's like you go for a job interview, then you don't hear anything. And then you get a phone call, we want you to start tomorrow. And you're like, okay. So in the first time when that happened, I was like, oh, okay. And so this was also the case on the job that I'm working on right now. So on Wednesday, I got the phone call, can you get here tomorrow? But I got my second shot. So I said, that's not going to happen. And then I arrived, Tuesday phone call, Wednesday shot, Thursday, and I'm in New Orleans, and I'm starting a movie. What is an amazing script about Boston, 1974, as I let you know, and it's about the busing when the court decided that they put white and black skinned children at school together, but they didn't prepare them properly, so it became riots and it became like not so pretty. And the script is so well written, and it's with Harvey Keitel and Lawrence Howard, and I'm very excited about that. So that's where I'm sitting here. Like also, this is like the background of the hotel room, and yes.
Well, lucky you. You should be taking the maximum of your free time to visit New Orleans, because I've been told, I've seen it in films, and that's on my to-do list, to visit Louisiana, especially New Orleans and Baton Rouge, which they say are beautiful. So, take advantage of you being there. And whenever you have free time, just go out and have some fun. And then you tell us all about it. So we will know more about that project once it's done. You did start talking about this when we were talking about COVID. So why don't you give us a nice extended explanation of your idea of toilet paper?
Brilliant. Thank you for this. And okay. Okay, this is it. I have it like next on my desk, and I know I'm working on film, but because this is also became a part of passion, right? And I think that's what I bring. So you see those 2 rolls of toilet paper, right?
Yeah.
So what I came up with is that 8 out of 10 people are not aware how much toilet paper they use. And oh wait, let me go 2 steps back. I'm working in film, and it is not always, but sometimes it is also a waste industry, right? Because on set we use bottles of plastic, and we are about to reduce it, or you build the sets and you use the materials once and then it's tossed away. So I had like, what can I do to make a difference? And then when I just arrived in the US, I was sitting on the toilet, I looked to the left and I was like, why is that roll so wide? I don't get it. And then I started doing research, and I memorized a conversation from my dad and a friend of his who's working at the water filter company. And now this is a side conversation, because they talked about in the future, medication is something really of a concern, because the chemical industry transforms that fast. And if people are sick, they take the medication no matter what. So I was like, okay, this is interesting. And then I was thinking, like, where can we people take responsibility on maintaining the planet? And I was like, well, we can choose how much toilet paper we use. And then it turned out that 8 out of 10 people, they don't know. So I came up with a roll of toilet paper. This is the roll we have, and this is the curing size. And I chopped off 25%, right?
I think you could chop up a little bit more.
Do you think so?
Yes, it's still too wide.
Whoa, you are challenging me. I love it. So, but this is great, because
Paula, you have to think one thing. This is how people think. It doesn't matter how wide it is. I'm just going to be rolling a chunk, and use it.
That's what you cannot do.
That's it. So that's where you come in and you chop off more. You don't make a wide one. You make it smaller.
That's a good one. But we don't want to have, this is the whole purpose, that people don't do that. So this is what we did. I did it 25%. I'm going to consider to make a smaller roll for you, because I really appreciate your input. But then I have like 3 sheets. And I take the sheets, and before I'm going to use the bathroom, I'm going to check the quality, because you go to different bathrooms, they have different quality of paper.
Yeah.
You check your outcome, like how you eat, right? That's the outcome. And based on that, you take them out. Now I'm going from like average. So I take 3 sheets, and then I fold it. 1, 2, 3. So this is 2-ply. And instead of 2-ply, I make it now 1, 2, 3, at least. Let me just be flat with that. 1, 2, 4, 6, 12-ply, right? It was 2 because I'm folding it. And if I have the regular roll, you can see that if you use this, it's even wider than your normal roll. This is the
True.
and this is the 3-inch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oops, other way around. 2-inch.
Yeah.
So if people are mindful and using like proper folding instructions, we can reduce 40% of the toilet paper use. And so the mission is to make people aware about their consumption behavior, because it's not only about toilet paper, it's more like being present to how much you use and consume. Like go to the grocery store and then at the end of the month you toss half of it out of your fridge, and
Mm-hmm.
have this as a tool to make people mindful. So that's it in short. There's way more to it, but I mean,
Well, now I'm going to give you another idea.
yeah,
How to produce less trash at home.
this is good. And you know how you do, for example, less stress? There are few
Yes,
things.
I will tell you how.
Oh,
Besides you having your typical 3 trash bins, one
mhm.
for plastic, one, well, 3, 4, one for organic, one for plastic, one for paper, and one for glass. All the Tetra bricks for the milk or for the juice, when you finish using it, you cut the top, you wash it so it doesn't smell,
Yeah.
and you use it as a bin for organic. This means that that we are 3 adults living in this house, we only take the trash outside to the main big bin in the street once a week.
Brilliant.
Voila.
Yes, perfect. And I would like to add to that, for example, if you do groceries, right, you don't have to put your vegetables in a plastic bag and bring it to the counter. You can also like bring your own plastic reusable bags, or because that will save also another more plastic, right? For
True.
example, or like because I do what you think, or for example, if you have organic waste, you make compost of it, and so
Yeah.
you don't even toss it away like in your garbage bin, but you can use it as a resource for yes, for your little garden, for example.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Okay. We have given everyone 2 new ideas on how to be eco-friendly with our Mother Nature, who is being very patient with us. And I hope that, that we will learn to do all these things. Well, we have come to the end for today, for this time. I hope to have you as a guest in the future, in the very near future again. So Paula, it's been a pleasure having you this afternoon here at Tell Me Over Coffee and letting us know a little bit more of you. You can all follow Paula's career on her social media and all the links that I will put along with the video in YouTube and in IG. And I just wish to also thank you all for following this interview and for always being there. Your support is very important for all of us. And as I usually say, thank you for supporting culture. Life without culture is very boring. And since this month, I am shooting a Spanish, the second season of a Spanish series. I've had to shift, and Paula knows that, I've had to shift all my guests around, and I'm doing interviews in unusual dates, such as Friday today. And our next guest is going to be next Monday, which is not a usual day for me. And he is an international film composer, Medhat Hanbali, from Montreal, Canada. So don't miss it. Please be responsible, wear your mask, and stay safe. Thank you all. Thank you, Paula.
you're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.